if I would have taken everything Hollywood put in my face.
Yeah.
But everything they put in your face isn't free. There's always a price to it. I don't mean just money. You know, they want you to do stuff. They want you to compromise. They want you to be on team, whatever it is, and they want you to do drugs with them. They want you to drink with them. They want you to have dirt on you, because if you have dirt on you, you can't spill the dirt on me.
Hi, I'm Ricky C. Simmons. This is a Look Like Somebody podcast. I asked my little brother, Randy J. Goodwin, to be a part of this today. It's my very first one. But I got a feeling my little brother is going to say something or
Stop. He has a feeling I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. It's your first show.
First show.
So most people don't know who you are.
Okay.
Behind the scenes of being superstar Ricky C. Simmons, number 7, you know, for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and the great Husker team from, well, we're just focusing on the 1983 season, going for 2. Everybody knows that game. Everybody knows that game. Well, I know him outside of being one of the best blocking receivers in the game. I know him outside of having breakaway speed like you have not seen until Barry Sanders got in the game. I know him outside of the stylish hats and the killing them with the shoulders. So I want y'all to know who Ricky is. So I jumped in because I'm gonna ask him a few questions just so you can get to know who Ricky is a little bit, because you're gonna be listening to him quite often.
But I also want them to know who you are as well.
We'll get to me in a minute.
Okay.
I'm the host. You stop interrupting.
Okay, yes, sir.
I'm the host right now.
See, that's my little brother taking over.
So, okay. We met quite a few years ago, and we had an instant connection.
Yes.
That doesn't happen with everybody that I run into, especially athletes, entertainers. I know a lot of people in my space as an actor and a filmmaker, and it was an honor, and it was an incredible feeling to meet you for the first time because of him. You know, I know Mike Rozier and Irvin Fryer and all these other cats that I watched growing up, which was pretty awesome. That's why, you know, he calls me his little brother. He's a little bit older than me, but I mean, it is an honor to be called your little brother. You know, we're more than friends. We're tight.
Right.
So let's share some insights on your life with the new viewing audience that's going to continue to grow here.
Well,
Where did you come from? How did you get to Nebraska?
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm probably going to get some pushback from this one, but I actually wanted to play for the University of Oklahoma.
I'm sorry, I almost swallowed my tongue. You said Oklahoma?
Oklahoma. I wanted to be a Sooner. Let's be real, man. I mean, I grew up 3 hours from OU and 4 hours from the University of Texas. So I grew up in a little small town right outside of Dallas, and this little town called Greenville, Texas. And everybody aspired to go to Oklahoma, and, you know, from my high school. That was like the prize. And I wanted to follow suit. But my mom and dad, who are both in heaven, they weren't feeling Oklahoma. they didn't, especially my dad. He didn't understand what Oklahoma was offering. You know, so they were both school teachers with master's degrees, so they had a different approach. I was looking materialistically, you know, and this young man at the time named Tom Osborne showed up at my parents' house and basically convinced my parents. He didn't really convince me, but he convinced my parents. And 2 against 1. I really didn't have a leg to stand on, so the Oklahoma dreams went out the window.
What did Osborn say to get your parents to lean toward him and not OU?
Well, he's a I think he has a doctor's degree in psychology. So he's pretty sharp, and he basically approached them with things like, we can't get him those material things, but 95% of our athletes graduate. Well, you're talking to 2 school teachers with a master's degree. And my dad's a World War II veteran, and he's a no-nonsense guy.
Right.
You know, so he made his mind up, and it was a done deal. I mean, I still kind of pushed back a little bit because, you know, at 18, you still think you got it going on a little bit, think you're kind of feeling yourself. So I pushed back a little bit, but he pulled his pants up to his chest, balled up both fists, and started walking toward me with his fist balled up. So I made a business decision. I bagged up until I couldn't bag up anymore, and I asked him, well, where are we going, Dad? And he said, we're going to Nebraska. And I said, go Big Red.
How was your reception when you got to Nebraska? I mean, were they even aware of the fact that you didn't want to go there?
I think it was known, but, you know, Nebraska was a real proud program, so they didn't really buy into that. They felt like since I had signed with them that they could so-called win me over. So, you know, when I got here, it was different, but I made some friends right away, and that helped. So once I made friends, then, you know, the rest was history.
Yes, it was. Off to the pros for a little while.
Yeah, went to the USFL right after the game you were referring to. We went for 2. First year I was drafted by Washington Federals, played a full season with them, and then we didn't have a good team. And the owner sold our team, and we became, the second season, we were the Orlando Renegades. Well, after that season, the league folded. And I got picked up by the Atlanta Falcons, but I had picked up a drug addiction in the USFL, and I didn't know I had an addiction. So when I got to Atlanta, football was like the last thing on my mind. And when I got there, I wasn't really even trying to focus on football. I just wanted to use drugs. So before I could even play my first game with Atlanta, cocaine convinced me that football was getting in the way of my using. And I agreed with the cocaine. So I basically quit the NFL to be a full-time drug addict.
Wow. Told you, there's some uncomfortable questions and answers, but, you know, Ricky is one of the most transparent people that I know.
Yeah.
Because you can't really help people if you're not being honest.
Well, people can see through it, you know, especially people that are going through tough times, whether it be addiction, whether it be bad choices being made. They can see through when you're not being real, you know. And so I decided to get real comfortable with just throwing myself under the bus. But I do it for 2 reasons. The first reason is to help people not make the same mistakes that I made. And the other reason is I've dedicated the rest of my life to making my parents in heaven proud of me.
Now, what brought you to that decision to make that change and to really, you know, go after making your parents proud?
That's a good question, little brother. I was taking care of my parents in 2004 and 5, and I had them full time. I moved back to Texas, and taking care of them, I wasn't healthy at that time, but I was like a functioning addict, if there's a such thing. They were trying to put my parents in a retirement home. My mother was very clear she didn't want to go. And my dad said he was not going. Basically, his words was, put me in the ground first, Ricky. So I took care of them for like 2 years. And I was, you know, one night I had put them to bed, usually around 10 o'clock every night. I had put them to bed, and I was doing drugs in my room in a different section of the house. and I heard this clanking noise, and it was my dad on his walker coming up the hall, and I was like, oh, man, I thought he was asleep. And he got outside of my door, and he sounded like he did when I was a kid. It was like, Ricky, scared the you-know-what out of me. And then I ran out in the hallway because I didn't want him to see what I was doing. And but he already knew. I mean, my dad was old. He wasn't stupid. And he said, I need you to promise me 3 things. And I'm like, sure, Dad. He goes, no, say you promise. I said, I promise, Dad. He said, first thing is, he said, son, don't you never give up. And the second thing was, he said, at some point, you got to put God in your life. But at that very moment, I was actually using drugs. So I was like, Dad, it won't be tonight, but I will. And the third thing he said was, this has nothing to do with nobody but me. He says, every day you blessed to see, you get up and you look like somebody, Ricky, and you do that for me. And he clank, 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 went back to his room. Well, the next day he had a stroke, and he never spoke to me again. So that was the last thing he said to me was look like somebody, which led to what it's leading to. I mean, it led to the name of this podcast being Look Like Somebody, the documentary, Look Like Somebody. It's a way for me to honor my parents in heaven because they never got to see the Ricky that you guys are looking at right now.
Right.
So that's what motivates me.
Well, we're not going to get any deeper into that because, like he just said, the Look Like Somebody documentary, the life of Ricky C. Simmons, is complete, and it will not be released as a movie, as a standalone feature. It is the pilot episode of a series that is called Ricky Simmons Presents Look Like Somebody. So we just finished our second documentary in this series, and we're moving on to the third, and we're going to be shopping this to all of the major outlets. Some already shown interest right now, but this is a special. It's a special documentary. Like my wife loves documentaries.
Yeah.
She will go to sleep watching How to Get Away with Murder documentaries. What is it with women in these documentaries? I buried my husband and got away with it. Stuff like that. They love these documentaries, but documentaries, and they've really grown in popularity, and people love watching them. So keep an eye out for Look Like Somebody, the documentary series that is presented by Ricky Simmons, inspired by his life, because it is phenomenal. You will learn things and you will see things. We did a screening at 88 Tactical.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Shay.
Yes, Shay again. Founder and CEO of 88 Tactical, my best friend, growing up. And he allowed us to have the screening there. Not a dry eye in that place.
Including mine.
Yeah, he thought he was going to escape without crying. And I introduced him, and not everybody that was in the place knew that Ricky and Coach Osborn, Mike Rozier, Johnny Rogers, Eric Crouch were on the other side watching the documentary as well. But when they were given an applause, and then I said, this wouldn't be possible without this man. I brought him over from the other side, and everybody's like, oh, they're here. Man, everybody gave him a standing ovation, then Ricky started crying. Yeah. And then I tried to grab Rozier. I said, Mike. He said, man, I got to go to the bathroom. And he snuck off. And I said, Coach. Coach said, I have to go to the bathroom. And then they walked out and never came back, left me hanging in there. But Eric Crouch hung around, and Johnny, everybody had good words to say. But the documentary was so well received, so I'm excited for everybody to see this. I'm excited. I wish we could put it out today, but there is a process, and it takes a while. Sometimes it takes years to get something out. But I just wanted y'all to know a little bit about this man. You got enough, and you'll get to know him from week to week and episode to episode from here on out. So this is Randy J. Goodwin, and my hosting is over.
Okay. Well, see, this is now I'm in my comfort zone. First of all, thank you, Randy. That means a lot to me because you're such a big part of getting this documentary done. And I want people to know that the very important part of what I'm doing is based on you. And you took it on really with, I mean, you did it so easily. I mean, you didn't have to do it. You're a very busy man. I mean, I know you've been 30 plus years in Hollywood. I get that. So with that, just that alone comes a lot of people tugging, you know, but you cleared space, man, and I'll forever be grateful for that because you didn't have to do it. You know, it didn't come with no big payday, you know, but I've grown to know that that ain't what motivates you because tell you something about him. He didn't put me on blast. I'm gonna put him on blast. Randy is one of the busiest actors in Hollywood for over 30 years, and he's turned down more major roles than probably anybody that I know because he stand on business, he stand on principle, and he has a moral compass that a lot of people don't know about. And this is what I'm finna start asking some questions now.
Bring it. Bring it. I got answers.
Okay, so Randy, share with us, where you from?
Shoot, I'm from right here.
What?
Omaha, Nebraska. Born and raised. Wakanda Elementary, Nathan Hale Junior High, Northwest, Creighton Prep, University of Nebraska, Lincoln, Kappa Sig. You know, just this is home. This is it.
But you know, if I remember correctly, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you after college you went to the military?
Yes. I went to the Air Force. My brother Brian was in the Air Force. My oldest brother, Marine, for a while. My dad was Army, Korea. Uncles, Navy, Marines, Air Force, you name it. My family has served the country. My dad's oldest brother was one of the original Tuskegee Airmen pilots.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've done a lot with the Tuskegee Airmen over the years, too. So I'm proud of that. Proud to be able to serve the country, help people enjoy these freedoms of being able to call me names.
Okay.
You know,
I got you.
Do whatever, all the freedoms that y'all have, you're welcome. From the Goodwin family.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm just curious. What made you, after the military, what made you want to go into acting?
Oh, no, it wasn't just after the military. I knew I was going to be an actor when I was 8 years old.
Oh, okay.
That was it. I knew God built me for this. I mean, literally, God built me for this. I remember my brother Brian came out, and I was doing the show Girlfriends at the time. And he goes, man, you wasn't lying. I said, what? He said, man, God did build you for this. I said, what are you talking about? He said, you don't even see it. I said, see what? He said, man, these women are hitting on you, and you don't even see it. I said, who? He said, all of them. And I went, I ain't even paying attention to him, man. He goes, that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
The women that a lot of actors get caught up into, the drugs, never been interested, never done drugs in my life. The drinking and partying, I turned down the Diddy parties. I just want y'all to know that.
So he was not a part of that.
Jamie Foxx parties. You know, I've been invited to a lot of that stuff. It just wasn't my thing. I didn't do a lot of the red carpet stuff unless it was a function that had to do with the show that I was on or something like that. And me and Tristan Rogers would roll to a couple things when I was doing CBS stuff because, you know, the soap operas that he's on and then the shows that I was on. And we would just roll to it. But I was never caught up in the glitz and glamour. I never got into the business for the money nor the fame. But I'm not an idiot. I know that no matter what job you do, if you do well, you get raises.
Correct.
If you do well, you get promotions.
Right.
It's just that our promotions are in the public eye. You know, the next show.
Yes.
More money. And our raises are pretty big.
Right.
You know, from this show, you might make this, and then you get the next one, boom, your popularity goes up. Boom. You literally go up to another tax bracket.
Right.
Now, I've been there for 35 years, so I've done all right, you know.
Yeah, well, I'll say this, Randy. I was really, really shocked when Brett Wedden brought your name.
Big Brett,
the
giant.
When he brought your name to my attention and said that, you know, you could possibly help me. I was like, man, that dude is, you know, and this is just me, but that dude is famous. He ain't got time to mess with me. You know, he does Hollywood, I'm just a guy here just trying to do a little documentary. I mean, I didn't think that a person of your stature would even take time.
Well, I'll say this. A person of my stature, that's always funny to me when people say,
but it's a true statement. But it's a true statement, dude, because you can't be in Hollywood 30-some years and still be working and active and not have status. I mean, I don't think Hollywood like you like that. I mean, you earned your way to be there for 30+ years. I mean, that's earned.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It's just hard for me because I think we're in the same boat when it comes to. I don't like to say I'm humble. People tell me that all the time, but I don't like to. I'm not puffed up. I don't like to brag about what I do. I like my work to speak for itself. So it took me a while to even realize when people say, "Man, you're on TV. We watch you all the time, man.
Yes.
You're famous." And I go, "I ain't famous." I mean, Will Smith is famous. But then we get to the why, like you just said, I've turned down so much. Yeah, I could have Will Smith money, and I could have Keanu Reeves fame if I would have taken everything Hollywood put in my face.
Yeah.
But everything they put in your face isn't free. There's always a price to it. I don't mean just money. They want you to do stuff. They want you to compromise. They want you to be on team, whatever it is, and they want you to do drugs with them. They want you to drink with them. They want you to have dirt on you, because if you have dirt on you, you can't spill the dirt on me.
Right.
And that's a lot of times, and then they push an agenda, and I've turned it down many times, and they put a lot of money in front of me. They slid checks in front of me. I got a phone call. Actually, I ran into a producer friend of mine, and he said, "Man, we were at the studio today." I won't say the name of the studio, Warner Brothers. We were at the sounds like Warner Brothers. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. Okay.
No, he said, "Man, your name came up at the studio today, man. It was a big meeting, and it's a big movie." And everybody was like, "Yeah, Randy Goodwin, man, Randy." Then the big dog said, "Yeah, I know Randy. I know who he is. He's very good, very good. But he won't drink with me. I don't trust anyone who won't drink with me."
Wow.
And then this producer broke down what that meant. He said, "It means if you don't drink with him, there's never a chance that you'll get drunk. And if there's never a chance that you'll get drunk or that something can be slipped into your drink to put you in a compromising position, then they fear you because you have no dirt on you." This is a well-known producer. If I said his name, you'd know it.
Yeah.
And I went, wow. And this is 20 years ago. And I went, wow. I go, it's like that? And they go, oh, it's like that. And then I started seeing it more and more with the more work I started getting. And the more work I turned down, I'd see it more and more. And I was like, wow. I said, but I can't give in. And I would pray. I'd continually pray about it. And I'd continually say, well, Lord, I'm out here sticking to my guns and staying true to you, and I got to fight like this?
Yeah.
He's like, yep.
Yeah. Well,
Remember what I had to go through.
It looks a lot like, and I'm on the outside looking in, but just from what I can see, it looks like there's quite a few people that are willing to take those checks.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
And regardless of what comes with it, they just want the checks. Yeah. And like I say, I'm not here to judge anybody. That's not my deal. But what I will say is this. At the end of the day, just the fact that you were able to stick to your beliefs in a very, very difficult environment, I think that needs to be admired. That's just my personal opinion, because I know you don't, care about personal accolades. I already know that about you. But see, Randy, I'm this type of guy. I'm gonna give people their flowers while I can, because there's too many times when after the fact, now everybody wants to give you. I don't want to do that. I want to be able to say, yes, my little brother. And I told him to his face. I even told him on my podcast, how proud I was, because that's important.
Yeah.
Because as a society, we don't put a lot of emphasis on that. Now, if you go out and do something that's compromising, oh, we'll give you plenty of credit.
Right.
We got cameras for that.
Right.
You know, if you go out and commit a crime, so to say, Hollywood actor Randy J. Goodwin was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, if Randy does something on a positive tip, I guess that doesn't help the ratings as much.
No.
I don't understand why negativity gets so much attention, but I get it now, and each day I start to see more and more.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to me.
Well, people like to see people fall and fail. People love to see other people fail. That's their own flaws. That's their lack of confidence or whatever it may be. But they want to see train wrecks, and they want to see that it ain't them.
Right.
You know, so they're quick to throw something at you, or even just put a label on you that's not even true.
Right.
I've already gotten that right here in Omaha.
Yeah.
You know, coming back, because what you're talking about, you know, having integrity in Hollywood was the main reason I wanted to come back to Nebraska and build the film industry here with my friends and family.
You know, and that's something else that I want to get to. I know that this is home. I respect that. But you could have went anywhere.
Yeah.
And done what you're doing. I mean, you could build a film industry in a different state.
I could have, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Iowa asked me if I would come over and take over this high school, turn it into a studio. While I was, you know, working with, there's a group of people I was working with that, well, I'm no longer working with them, but I'll give them props because I couldn't have spearheaded or pushed and gotten a film incentive by myself because I didn't.
Right.
Fallen Giant, yeah, that's by myself. I built this.
Right.
This is my company.
Right.
But the film incentive that the governor signed last year, I was partnered with the Dig Site Productions. That's Stacey Heatherly, Dana Reeves, Ishma Valente, Kirk Zeller, that's my boy, and Kayleen Carlson. There's a few others. Kent Rogert, who was our lobbyist down there, and could not have done it without Senator Rita Sanders. Rita pushed that.
Yeah, man, that's good people right there.
Yeah. So we went down, testified. I would come back in town before I even moved back, and we would push this thing.
How long had you been trying to get this done?
Me, 20 years. Working with them,
Yeah.
10 years.
But to get this film industry up and running, you've been at it like 20 years?
I've been at it for 20 years. And I know people say, well, there was a film industry here. No, there wasn't. Because, yes, you can shoot a film or say this. Okay, you played pro football. Mm-hmm. You played college football. You played high school football. You played Little League football.
Right.
So just because I pick up a football and run in the park, does that make me a football player?
No.
Exactly.
I got you.
These people, and I give kudos to those who are really trying to take it seriously. They're shooting a short film and then say, you know, film that 2 minutes long or 5 minutes long or 15 minutes long with their friends or with a small crew. And everyone says, hey, I'm a filmmaker. I've done 50 films. Where are they? Are they on TV? Are they on the big screen?
Right.
Are they on any of the networks that you've seen me on? NBC, ABC, CBS,
right. It's a
Fox,
difference.
HBO,
Yeah.
Showtime, Paramount Plus, Netflix. I mean, that's not
difference.
bragging.
No, that's facts.
me. Yes, that's facts.
Yeah.
Where is your work?
Yeah.
If you're just doing it for yourself and for your friends to show it in your basement, can you really say you're a filmmaker?
Right.
Are you making an impact? Are your projects going out to the world? Isn't that what you want? Well, that's why I'm here to help you get there. But there's too many people who are resistant because they think they already know it and they've never been to Hollywood.
Right. Well, you know, the one thing I was just sitting here thinking about is you told me this story, and I'd like for you to share it again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm going to put you out there. I think you were, gosh, I want to say you were probably 8 years old when you decided you wanted to make film. But you didn't. But everybody told you you were wasting your time. It was never going to happen, and you didn't have anyone that was already in position to really put you on. So you being the stubborn little brother that I have come to know you as. You figured out a way to get there. You knew at that age that you wanted to do this.
Yes.
That's amazing to me. Can you share that, though?
Well, I got it from my mama.
Got it from your mom, okay.
Because my mom's stubborn. That is not disrespect.
Now, you know she's going to hear this.
I know she's going to hear it. She's going to say, I am not. Well, yes, I am. Well, that's my resilience in Hollywood, I definitely got from my mom.
Gotcha.
Definitely.
Gotcha.
You know, a lot of people complain, and we did too. Boy, we got some whoopings. But it was 5 boys, 5 of us. My dad was the youngest of 14.
Oh, wow.
10 boys, 4 girls.
Wow, okay.
And big family. So, you know, we grew up with a lot of uncles, cousins. Mm-hmm. We fought, we played ball, all that. But I remember 8 years old, I did a play, Jesus of Nazareth. And special effects weren't that great back then. The mustache kept, and the beard kept falling off my face, and I kept trying to smooth it on while I'm talking. You know, see what it does right there. And I'm trying to talk, trying to raise Lazarus from the dead. And the director says, Randy, just leave the beard. We'll put it back on when you get back here. Just say the lines. So I kept saying the lines, and it was just hanging on by a thread. I remember that. And I felt stupid. And I remember going back, and they put it back on, everything. I came out, did the play, you know, raised Lazarus, talked to the apostles, all of it. And then afterwards, it was curtain call, and they brought everyone out, and everyone's clapping and cheering and everything. And then they brought me out, and it's like the cast just parted, and I stepped down. Everybody's like, it just blew up ovation. I went, I don't know what just happened, but I want to make people do that for the rest of their lives.
Wow, at 8 years old.
Yeah, not for the rest of my life, for the rest of their lives.
Gotcha.
All of them collectively. And as I got older, I realized, you know what? I want to do this. I want to do this for real.
Yeah.
And I said to my parents, Mom, Dad, I want to be an actor. Oh, you can't be an actor. That's Hollywood. That's what's way out there. There's corruption out there. You don't want to be a part of that. You go to school for architecture. I said, but I want to be an actor. And I stuck to it. And all along the way, they kind of tried to steer me left. Education, you know, church. I was able to do church and plays, a couple things like that, but for the most part, no entertainment. And then as I got into high school, I would sneak off and do talent shows, and
you did a little comedian work too.
Shade again. That's his fault. Shade was doing stand up, and he said to me one day, hey man, I got a gig in Ottumwa, Iowa. This is in college. In Ottumwa, Iowa. You want to go? I said, yeah. So I went with him. We're there. Ottumwa, Iowa is where Tom Arnold, Roseanne's husband's from, and Radar from MASH is from Ottumwa, Iowa. That's their claim to fame. And we get there, and Shay is the opener, who is also the host of the show. You know, he comes out, he does his warm up and then introduces each comic. Okay. So you have an opener, you have a feature, and then you have a headliner.
Yeah.
Opener does like 5, 10, 15 minutes. And then the feature does about 30 minutes. And then the headliner does about an hour, 45 to an hour. Well, I'm sitting there just kind of watching all the people come into the hotel in this little dive comedy club. And, you know, I'm a people watcher.
Yeah.
And Shay and the owner of the hotel are having a conversation. I'm kind of listening, but I'm not. And he says, Shay, we got a problem. Feature act didn't show. We haven't even heard from him. He's like, oh, man, what are we going to do? He said, do you have enough material? And Shay goes, wow, 30 minutes. Ooh, I don't know, man. And, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And he goes, well, who's going to open? And Shay looks at me and says, Randy will do it. I heard him say, Randy will do it, which made the rest of the conversation start to become more clear in my head. And I went, Randy will do what? He said, do you think he'll do it? He goes, yeah, he'll do it. Is he funny? Yeah, he's funny. I said, who's funny and who's going to do what? He goes, you going to open the show? I said, no, I'm not. He goes, dude, we're going to Hollywood.
Wow.
We're going to Hollywood. If you could pull this off tonight, man, this is what you built for. I said, yeah, no. And then the owner said, I'll give you, you can have as much as you want to drink. I go, I don't drink. He goes, I'll give you a free room. I said, I'm staying in Shay's. He said, you'll make this much. I said, when do I start?
You put that
he
dollar
said 5
bill.
minutes, and me and Shay stepped to the side, and Shay started running down, just some comic tips. And I was like, okay. He was talking about B words, burger, bacon, just hard, good. Certain things are funnier when you say it, so choose your words wisely, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, okay. Remember that exercise bike down in your mom's, in your basement, just covered in, just, we were brainstorming, spitballing. And then they quieted everybody down and introduced me from Omaha, Nebraska. I walked up on stage. That light was so bright you could barely see the front row. I didn't remember a thing that Shay said.
You came up and drew a blank.
And it was quiet. And I was just looking around, and it was one of those, hello. And the first thing that came out, you remember back then, it was the big commercials were the paste pecani sauce commercials.
Okay.
New York City,
Yeah.
get a rope. So I just went, if I hear get a rope, and they just died laughing because there's only one black family in that town. The whole audience was white, and I said, get a rope, and they laughed. And then I said, is there any black people in here? And somebody said, Jeffrey. Well, he's half black anyway. I said, you in here, Jeffrey? He goes, yep. I said, where you at? He said, I'm in the back. I said, you by a door? He said, yes, sir. I said, do me a favor, open that door up because I know if this goes sideways, can't nobody in here catch me. And it went from there. And, man, it was a hilariously funny show. I introduced Shay. He came up, gave me a hug. He goes, yeah, baby, yeah. And then he killed it, and he came off, and the headliner went up, and, man, it was a great night. And I was like, I'm built for this.
Yeah.
I'm built for this. And then I went on and kept doing stand-up. I ended up at the Improvs and the Laugh Factories in L.A. and Chicago. And then Shay moved on, went to the police department, and the rest is history.
I want to ask you about when you got to California. You didn't initially start off getting roles. Is that correct?
No.
What was that process like? When you first got there, if I remember correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't just go in and start getting lead roles.
No. I didn't do it the way everyone else does it. They go in, they start getting acting classes, they start, they get showcases with casting directors that come in. I went in and I said, you know what? I'm kicking these doors open.
Yeah.
I'm going to let them know who I am. Well, the only person I knew was Christoph St. John, who played Neil on The Young and the Restless. He passed away a few years ago. He's one of my closest friends, definitely my closest friend in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And Troy Allen, who was an exec at 20th Century Fox. He's the one who shepherded and got Blade made with Wesley Snipes. Mm-hmm. He was the producer on one of the execs that did Braveheart and all that. So those were the only two people I knew. And Christoph, just such a big heart, just started introducing me to people. Oh, Will Smith, Morris Chestnut, Jamie Foxx, Taye Diggs, Eric Braeden, all these people. He'd take me on the set of The Young, the Restless, and The Bold and the Beautiful. And then I got to meet all these, I'm just meeting all these people. And he selflessly did it. He wasn't looking like, I'm not introducing this dude. He ain't taking my
Right. He didn't feel
Although
threatened.
he did look at it as competition because it usually takes about 10 years before you kind of get it. You find an agent or a manager. You get an acting class. You do showcases. You get an agent and or a manager. Then you start getting auditions, mm-hmm. and then you may get a call back, and then there's another phase where you test for the role, and then boom, you book it. That's a 10-year process. That's the average. Doesn't matter if you're an actor, a producer, a director. If you're new, it takes about 10 years before you start working, and not even working where it is your sole job. I got it in 2 years.
Oh, wow.
2 years. I remember Troy said, I'm gonna act as your manager, and I'm gonna introduce you to some people as well. So that's how that happened. And the next you know, I get a call for this audition, but it wasn't. I was working security at the Hollywood Athletic Club with some guys. There's about 8 of us, and I had my little Fiat convertible Spider that was always breaking down. And I was going to work one night. My tags were expired. I got pulled over by the cops. They impounded my car. I was sleeping in my car at the time. Been for about 6 months. And I was like, fellas, I am 2 miles away from my job. Can I just drive there? You can follow me. Then I can take my stuff out. They said, man, we're sorry. We got to take it.
Wow.
So I took my pillow out. I took as much as I could, and I walked 2 miles to work with all my stuff. That's all I had. The next day, I had an audition. Showtime called.
Wow.
So I called Troy. I said, Troy, my car got towed. Man, can you take me? So he took the whole day off. This is a senior exec at 20th Century Fox. Took the day off to take me to Showtime and waited.
Wow.
And it took hours because they're running a lot of people through auditions. It wasn't just for my role. It was the other roles, too.
Right.
So Larry Gelbart, the creator of MASH,
Okay.
you know, one of the great showrunners and producers out there, he's in the room, and I go in and I read. And I remember they told me to wait. I said, oh, okay. It was like one of my first big auditions. I hadn't had a lot of auditions. This was like my first big one.
Right.
And I went and sat down, and all these people were there, and then they go in and come out and leave. And so it's starting the herd's thinning out. All of a sudden, Larry Gelbart walks out of that room, and he goes, I got to go to the can. Where's the head? You know, old military.
Yeah.
And he looks over at me, and he goes, and I went. And he goes, and I went. And he goes, and I went. He goes,
You got it.
he told me I got it before the day was over, and I went. And I just sat back. I almost cried because I had just lost everything. Everything that was in my car that night before.
Right.
I was sleeping in the park. I still kept a membership because I had that little job that paid me just enough to keep a gym membership so I could stay in shape for the auditions that I hadn't even had yet. So I could shower in the morning, still, get
Wow.
headshots,
Yeah.
still operating, and nobody knew that I was living on the street, man. Nobody knew. I had friends that be like, after security, 2 a.m, we closed. Hey man, you got to drive all the way out to Calabasas? 'Cause that's when I was living with Christoph before that. But I moved out because of the young lady that started hanging out with him, got him back into drugs and alcohol and all that. And I couldn't be around it.
Right.
And I told Stoff, man, if you're going to be doing that, I got to roll. So I left without a place to go. And I was sleeping in my car. And I was like, you know what? You got to do what you got to do.
Wow.
I said, God built me for this. I'm sticking to it. I'm praying. I'm working.
So when he gave you the thumbs up, what role was that you got?
The show is called Fast Track with Keith Carradine, Duncan Regehr, who, when I was a kid, he was Zorro.
Ah.
He was that Zorro. Yeah.
Yeah.
We watched him. So I'm like, man, I'm on the show with Fred the Hammer Williamson.
Yes.
Yes. So I was the young dude. I rolled into this show. We shot in Toronto. It was for Showtime. Had great ratings first full season, 22 episodes. And it's funny because this is the only time I will reveal, because I ain't telling y'all what I make today. But that show in 1997, I remember my agents negotiating, and they called me. They said, we settled on $17,500 a week. And I went, wow. I went $1,750 a week is not bad.
Yeah.
Because I was just sleeping in my car.
Right.
And she said, no, $17,500 a week. And I went, I said, hold on a second. I said, pause, and I was like, what? Oh, $17,500. And I went, wait a minute, $17,500, 22 episodes. I got back on, I said, okay, yeah, y'all can close on that. Yeah, go ahead and close on that. My mid-20s dude who's been sleeping in his car for a while.
Yeah.
Military, all that other stuff, and then just a jump. I realized something also as I continued on in this business. I used to say, man, why do we get paid? Why do actors get paid so much? Because you as a cameraman, you can make about $4,000 a week.
Yeah. Right.
I'm making
Right.
10 times that, 20 times, 100 times. It doesn't matter. Well, one, you're the face. They want to see you. They
Right.
don't want to see the cameraman.
Correct. I
But
get that.
I can't do any of that without everyone else. And I used to say, man, I think they should at least bring it down for us a little bit and bring them up a little bit.
Yeah.
Then I realized I get paid for all those years that I worked toward this and didn't get paid.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I was busting my tail.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that you were sleeping in your car. And
So I don't complain about it no more.
right.
I take it, and then the next one, it goes higher, and the next one goes higher, and then we keep going, and you hope for a show that runs for years.
Well, I gotta say this. I remember we was at 88 Tactical, and I just came up to get some food, and you were out on the little deck smoking your cigar, and I was all excited about this one guy, and you just picked your phone up and you called him, FaceTimed him, and
That's right.
and you was talking to him, and y'all were FaceTiming, and you said something like, "My big brother, man, he's a big fan of yours," and then you go, just say hello to him, and you hand me the phone, and I'm looking at him, dude. I'm very rarely tongue-tied, okay? I mean, I was actually starstruck. It was Michael Jai White.
It was Gary Coleman.
No, it was Michael.
It was
Jai
Michael Jai White.
Yeah.
Mike Jai is one of my closest friends. And
Man,
yeah.
I mean, he was so down to earth because I was like, "Yo, man, I watched a lot of your film, man. I mean, I'm a big fan." He was like, "Well, that's cool, man. I appreciate it." It really made me feel, like, okay, he's just a normal guy.
Yes, he
but
is.
when you see, I watched several of his films. I'm a fan.
Well, Mike's not normal. Michael Jai White is not normal.
Okay.
The way his brain works, and I don't say it just being funny. Don't get a big head, Mike. He's got a brilliance in there. The way he thinks and comes up with stuff is different. He has a
Yeah.
different mindset than a lot of people I know, which is why I think we get along so well. One, he's much funnier than people think because they think he's just this mean dude, martial artist,
Yeah.
Mike is one of the silliest cats. I mean, the jokes that he plays on people and the stuff we've done together on people, man, the show Punk'd ain't got nothing on us. Nothing.
Well, hey, Randy, man, again, I just want to say thank you, for coming on. And this is the first show, man, and you made it really easy for me, and I just want to say thank you again. I always like to give people their props, man. I want everybody that's listening, man, if you could, check out my show, man. We're going to have a lot of different guests. I'm going to be plucking some of these stars from Randy's films when they come in town.
I'm going to get Mike in here.
What? Man, don't do that, man. You're going to make me all nervous and stuff.
I promise.
Well, hey,
And
look.
Randy, I keep my promises.
Hey, well, y'all heard it here. So tune in. Subscribe to the channel. Watch the show, man. Because we're gonna motivate people. We're gonna inspire people. And as you can hear with Randy's story, you ain't always at the top. You got to work your way up, and I'm going to tell stories like that. I call them redemption type stories, feel good stories, however you want to label them. But I want people to understand that even though you're going through adversity, because life is going to give you some adversity, I don't care who you are, you can still make it. And I want to promote that because that's positive to me.
Well, you're one of the most positive people that I've ever met, and I love that about you because with what you've been through in your life, you could have just laid down, rolled over, just let it take you out, but you took it, and now you're helping a lot of people, and that is commendable. 3 a.m. Just you got time to give that for a second? Yeah. This man gets up, goes to bed early, gets up way early, hand writes responses to people, drinks from
a prison coffee mug. I do this every morning for the last 15 plus years. I travel around the country speaking to anybody that needs me. I have a business partner. Her name is Kim Kelly, and she didn't like to be recognized, but I told her I was going to put her on blast.
Yeah, she right there.
Yeah.
She's sitting off to the side.
Yeah, she's sitting off to the side, but she thought she was going to get away clean. But anyway, that's who takes care of all the things that I hate to do. And I'm just really excited about what the future holds, man. So if you guys are interested in having me come speak, you now know how to get in touch with me.
Yes.
I want to say thank you for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Every day you blessed to see. You got to look like somebody. Do that for yourself. Thank y'all.